Fling Show. The Fling Show. Y'all wanna know about the mystery of flight. You wanna hear about the scene done right. So kill your TV and just come outside. We're gonna take you on a beautiful ride. The Fling Show. The Fling Show. The Fling Show. The Fling Show. The Fling Show.
We're at Shawshank. It's the last hole of the day at Shawshank. This first up on the box, Claire Stillwagon / my brother. Now he's Calais, playing some double treble here. Not double treble. We just all get 2 shots. Yep. Yeah, you're safe. He hit the tree. Landed perfectly in bounds. Almost went out. Now we have Edward Gardier. It would be nice to see a black ace today, but fortunately...
Is it on?
It's off!
Is it on?
It's not safe, Sobe. It's off! It's OB!
Two minutes.
Yeah, so let me give the little 2-minute warning, the little news of the day, a little update of the local things going around. I had an opportunity yesterday to go speak to disc golf legend and local hero, Hall of Famer Andy Young, in regards to her making an appearance as a guest on our Fling show here, and she's agreed to do that on a future episode, and I'm really excited about that. But more importantly, we talked about her and opening up Spring Valley for us, being the disc golfers, because the golf course has been closed. So for those of you who don't know, Spring Valley is now open, but there are some contingencies upon that. In order to play Spring Valley at this time, you must call ahead for a tee time. Cards of no more than 5 are allowed. And when you walk into the clubhouse, there are new strict rules of how many people can be inside and what you must do the moment you go in. So please make sure you go on their website, Facebook page, call them ahead of time, and make sure you know how it's being run at this time, because she's really looking out for the disc golfers and making sure that this thing doesn't spread any further just because she's opening up. So we're all looking really forward to that. I also had an opportunity to get back and forth with Sheldon over at Northside Christian Church to see the timeline on when that course may be open. He said he's still waiting for the church board members to give him a final decision on when the course is going to be reopened. They too are watching really closely what Harris County is doing at this time and may begin to follow suit. So more news to come on that hopefully soon, because we love that course and can't wait to play it again. And finally, I did have a lengthy conversation with the president of Northside Chain Gang, Matt Stillwagon, in regards to what they're doing now to move forward. So there's some new news. First is that there will be no tournaments held in May. However, they are moving forward with the NPT and has been rescheduled for the first weekend of June, which I believe is the 6th. For those of y'all who have registered or pre-registered, your registration still stands. They have also extended registration for the event, so if you want to play it, please get in now. The event is currently scheduled tentatively to be thrown at Northside Christian Church. That, of course, is upon the approval of it being reopened. If not, Matt said, do not worry. They do have a contingency plan and looking at 2 and 3 other courses to play at, so they will be playing it. That being said, on the minis, there will not be any minis this Saturday. However, next Saturday, they will be announcing the first traveling mini for Northside Chain Gang. So please pay attention to their Facebook page. When I find out, we'll go live with it and give you an update on that as well. So the mini is not this traveling mini is not this week, but it will be next Saturday. Lastly, finally, Matt wanted me to go ahead and talk about a few things. One is the upcoming elections into the Northside Chain Gang Board. All positions are up. That's the president, the vice president, the secretary, and the sergeant at arms. All positions are up for re-election. This is a 2-year appointment. There are 2 ways in which you can apply to be on the ballot. One is someone can nominate you. The other is you can nominate yourself. On September the 15th, Matt will announce who is on the ballot, and the voting will be in November, and it will be a 1-week voting period. So let's make sure that we keep this thing rolling. I think they've done a great job, and we want to keep the club strong. So the participation is really important. And finally, Matt did want to address one thing, and that is on the membership. The membership drive this year has been canceled as far as renewals are concerned. So anyone who is a member currently this year of Northside Chain Gang will not need to renew for the 2021 season. Your membership is good next year and will be moving forward on that. However, they are looking to improve their new membership, so that is always available. And Meridith Giere is the one that you will contact to get that taken care of. Dave, do you have any information about any other courses that locally that you like to play on?
Let's talk about what's going on with the breaking news in Houston and the disc golf scene. They've released some news that they're going to have the HFDS. They're going to release baskets to the Houston Flying Disc Golf Society sometime next week. And that includes baskets for Agnes Moffett, TC Jester, Milby. There will be some stipulations on social distancing, et cetera. You all know the stuff that comes along with it. These rules will be strictly enforced, and they'll require the help of the disc golf community to keep the courses open, like you said, to follow the rules. And also, it seems as though they need some volunteers, which my wife was saying appropriately that's not going to be a problem. To put the baskets on, they're asking if they can get some strong and healthy volunteers for basket pickup and installation. If you're free next week and you'd like to volunteer, text Steve Stanley is his name at 713-888-0555. Steve Stanley, 713-888-0555. How you doing, Chris?
I'm doing great. I'm pretty excited about today's show. We have some really special guests. I can't wait for you to bring them on, but even more so, we have a great addition to the team. And I believe moving forward, if we can get past the technical difficulties that we have going live, I think she's going to add just a wonderful part and give great insight to the game that we both love. And I can't wait for her to come on. And I'd like for you to go ahead and tell our viewers who that's going to be.
All right. Yeah, it's really a treat, and it's really crazy how it came about. We asked her to interview, and ended up just being a perfect fit for her. And I told Chris that it'd be great if she would come on and be a kind of a representative for the women in the sport, and but more than that, just her energy towards sponsorship. She is a Discraft sponsor player, and she also has other things that she's involved with, and she's a spokesperson for an eyelash company, and which she'll tell you about. But anyway, without a further ado, really happy to welcome our disco doll, our sister chain, our Lady Ann Hyzer, our chick flick in the new edition, the Fling Bling, Meridith Giere. Hey, how's it going?
There she is. Woohoo! Bling, 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 bling.
I'm so excited. Thank you so much for bringing me on this project. I am so stoked, and just knowing all the plans that y'all have in store, it is just so thrilling. I'm so excited to be a part of this. Thank you.
Well, welcome. We are so excited ourselves. Like I told you beforehand, David and I just could not get over how easy it was for the first interview that you had and the information you had, that just day after day, we couldn't get over that. And we knew that after that day that adding you was the missing piece of this puzzle. So we look forward to moving this show forward. And thank you for joining the team.
Awesome. My honor. Woo.
Yeah, thanks for coming to the show. And tonight we also have some guests, and Courtney from our area, who we wanted to talk to earlier when we were testing this thing out and talking to Trevor. Though it's amazing what these two guys have done in the sport. How long have you known Courtney?
I met her my first FPO tournament in, I think it was late 2017. I think it was a Stonebridge tournament, and that was when I met Haley and Courtney. They were who I was competing against. So I'm thinking late 2017 or 18. Maybe it was 18. That's probably what it was.
Okay.
2018. My apologies.
All right. Well, let's bring them on. I'm really excited to talk to them. So let's introduce Pixie and Trevor from Kentucky, from somewhere in the boondocks. We'll find out.
Aha! There they are.
She'll be right back.
She's still in green.
They just showed up.
All right. How's it
There she
going?
is. Going.
Hello, hello. Welcome to the
Hi.
show.
We're excited
Thank
to
y'all
be
for
here.
coming. Appreciate y'all coming and spending some time with us today. We really appreciate it. And I know that people cannot wait to hear what y'all have to say today. David, you going to lead off with the first question?
Yeah. My question is for Courtney. I've always called you Courtney, and I've always been kind of, just wondering where the name Pixie come from. Chris was talking about maybe it's because you were skinny like a pixie stick in those pictures, in those softball pictures, or early on softball pictures or something. I'm not sure, but I'm sorry. Tell us about that.
It actually came a little later. I have a couple friends, and they'll explain to me their project, and I call it the Courtney Tsunami. We'll just smash it out. And so if you know the folklore on a pixie, a lady explained it to me, a lady I barely even know. She explained to me the folklore on a pixie, how they just come in and they either are mischief or they're so helpful and you don't realize it and then they're gone. And with the way that I've always traveled around and visited my friends, that's how it's always turned out. So one of my friends started calling me that, and it just stuck. I liked it. I was like, heck yeah, okay.
Pixie dust.
Pixie dust. Hey, you know what? I was wondering, all through this, and we were going to get with you guys last week, and we didn't. So I had these questions, and I was just going over in my mind, what would it be? Why would it be, Pixie? And Chris likes this old font from this little cheesy movie maker that's All I Can Do, and so our little logo at the first, it comes in like that, and I was looking at it, and Chris liked it, so I kept it. just because that's all I can do at my age, you know. But anyway, I was loading it up one night, and it came across the name of it is Pixie Dust, and
Oh, cool.
and so I was loading it up for this show, and I thought, oh, that's what it is. It's Pixie Dust. So that's
Well,
kind
you
of
know what's really funny about
my take on it.
that is my four-wheeler helmet growing up, I saw it like not too long ago whenever I was visiting my mom. And on the back, I figured it whenever I was a little kid, eat my pixie dust on the back of my four-wheeler helmet. And I didn't know, like, I had no clue that that was going to be a nickname whenever I grew up. But
That's funny.
Hey, it works for me, you know. I was sticking with Courtney just because that's how I knew you from back in the day, and
I tell everyone, call me Courtney,
yeah,
Pixie. You can call me Frankenstein as long as you say it in a nice way. I don't mind, you know. Call me what you want.
right on. Well, there's this idea of synchronicity that I run into a lot. Kismet, things that happen all sort of out of the blue, and you know, Meridith and I have talked about it. It's a God wink thing, you know, where you know you're on the right track. And to me, that's what pixie dust is. You know, it just signifies that you're in the right place. And
Oh, thank
magical
you.
things happen when you're around, and they always
Oh,
have. You know, I remember back in the day, and watching you play, and you always had a really nice flick and a forehand, and you know, I'm sure you've developed into a good backhand game. How's the backhand going now?
It's coming along really well. Trevor blew my mind with a piece of information just like 2 days ago. And I did so much field work this morning and I figured it out. He told me that I have to like throw my shoulder into the shot, you know, and if my timing's right, I'm going to start pushing the disc instead of letting it float through the air like I was.
Mm-hmm.
And oh my goodness, I was parking holes today that I have never parked in my life. I was like, oh my gosh, it works.
Just a timing issue is really all her problem was.
And my last step was too long. So since my last step was long, I couldn't get that shoulder into it because I was already like back here.
Uh-huh.
And so I'm so glad that I worked that out. Backhand's coming along.
Meridith has that. Meridith has that timing down. I've seen her throw. I've seen on her page.
I'm excited to hear that info. I'm going to take that to the field tomorrow.
Well, what's
really
the trick,
helped.
Trevor? What's the trick to timing that out?
It's so, if you ever watch baseball is where I wasn't a baseball player per se, but I love watching baseball. I love watching all sports. So I kind of like just try to focus on who I would want to be like and try to go from there. Right. But it's not always going to work out like that. You're a different person. You're different. Your body structure is different. Everybody's different. So, but mainly with the timing issues, it's like what she was doing was she was bringing her arm from here and bringing it around and trying to gain speed off of her arm speed coming like this. But she needed to get her shoulder down and pulling through instead of getting her shoulder, like her shoulder would stay way up like this. And when she tried to pull through, it makes it rotate in a weird way. So it makes you rotate out. And when you do that, you lose a lot of kinetic energy, I guess you would say. When you drop your shoulder like this and you get everything super fast pull, and that kinetic energy will just make the disc go a lot more forward. So it's just like, it's only about a couple of inches, but if you stand up straight and you keep your body, like you can't, if your arm's way up here, you can't really like rotate over or down. You can't, it's just so limited. So if you can drop your shoulder and just, it's a relaxed drop and then pull through like that, you'll get so much more momentum out of your Frisbee and it'll push a lot further up the fairway. That's why I'm a good Hyzer flipper, I think. I get so much generation of power out of the disc that I throw it on Hyzer and it just flips up to where I want it to be flat.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think a lot of that too is just throwing it down the line. And then just letting it do what the flight of the disc does instead of trying to control what the disc does.
Right. Well, with baseball, the person I would say, like, I meant to say something about baseball, but with baseball, if you ever watched Ken Griffey Jr., the man wasn't a big dude. He wasn't a power hitter. He was just the smoothest, fastest swinger there was. And that's why when he hit the ball, the ball would go so far, you know. So like you got a guy like Frank Thomas and Barry Bonds who were jacked, and then you had Ken Griffey Jr., this little itty bitty dude. I mean, he was of course, you know, athletic and stuff, but the power that he had was all from the swing and how fast his swing was, not I'm going to put everything into it. And that's what people fail to forget. It's not about strength. I am the skinniest guy on the planet.
Mm-hmm.
And I can throw 550 at 36 years old still. And it's just because of my arm speed and the timing. So if you can get timing, arm speed, and then the little small mechanic issues in your throw, anybody can throw the disc really far. It's just figuring it out on how to generate the power that your body gives you.
It's just like the end of the whip.
Right.
And that's what it felt like.
Mm-hmm.
I had never felt the whip before like that on a backhand. I feel it on my sidearm all the time. But it snapped out of my hand and it just whipped its way. And I was like, oh my God, this is real life.
I told her, I said,
Let's
you know
go.
how your sidearms come out and they push forward so quick and you get so much distance out of them. You're not getting that on your backhand. We need to figure that part out. Now she's starting to get that initial push, because it's the first 50 feet out of your hand, I think, is the most important out of the throw, because it's how fast you're getting the disc out of your hand.
Mm-hmm.
So, and she's starting to figure it out on her backhand. So it's pretty fun to watch.
So like we're clicking around, we were talking earlier in our pre-interview about your musical thing, noticing a lot of microphone and a lot of like stage stuff, and just curious out on the road if you are like doing a lot of karaoke, or you know, where does that come from?
You look like a karaoke superstar. We didn't know what that was.
Aren't you in that karaoke group?
I would say I was an avid karaoke guy for sure. Because I okay, this is a crazy fun question to me. I was in a metal band for 9 years.
Yeah.
We were signed to a record label. I traveled the country with a couple of known bands, and it was a great time of my life. I never regretted anything that happened besides them splitting up, and because we had something special in my eyes. But in those times, I'm a huge music fan. So like CCR, Incubus, Bon Jovi, it don't matter. I love it, right? Boston, yes. I mean, my dad showed me some of the greatest music ever. And so I'd love to go karaoke, and at these shows, right? People be like, oh, he's a metal singer. What's he going to do now? I'd go up and sing Casey and JoJo, Bon Jovi. I'd switch it up and do a Little John cover. I would do anything and everything, and then I would throw screams in it. In the middle of it. And people would be like, whoa, that
Blow
was
their mind.
awesome, you know, and just completely blow their mind. So yeah, it was. So I did. I tell her we haven't been karaokeing since we've been together, and I love the karaoke. It's so fun for me.
I told him he was.
I got one right.
Yeah.
I got one right.
You did.
I said he was karaoke king. I said that.
I love it. It's so fun.
Hey, I do too. I'm a big fan. Unbeknownst to you, David and I are huge into the music scene as well. David in more of the performance. Me, I traveled with a couple bands that were pretty big as well. Did some tours with them. I didn't get on stage, more on the managing side. So when I saw those pictures, I said, there's something there.
Yeah,
I know there's something there. I've seen that look before.
I absolutely loved every minute of it. I mean, we played in LA at a big festival, like Sierra Nevada mountains in the background with 2,000-3,000 people. I opened up for Hatebreed right before Hatebreed was on. So like, if you know who Hatebreed is, you know who Jamie Josta is. When I was walking off the stage and Jamie Josta came up to me and shook my hand and said, "Great set," and I was like, "Oh my God!" You know, like
country and western guy, right?
Oh yeah, no, not even close. But I mean,
there's a Jamie Johnson who also sings country and western, and he's pretty badass.
Yeah.
Just so you know.
But I got to meet a bunch of cool bands, man. I got to hang out. I did the managing side of bands as well after my band, so I enjoyed the heck out of it. The one thing I didn't enjoy about music life was the fact that we bought a $15,000 van to put $10,000 worth of equipment to drive 5 hours to get paid $40. You know, like,
you got to drink all the beer you wanted though. You had some
Yeah.
beer, right?
You got pizza, you got beer, you got
Right.
the jam for some people,
Yeah.
and hopefully you sold a couple CDs or a shirt or two.
Shirts, right?
Well, and hey,
Was it tough?
on that note too, like
Period.
the first people that got hurt by this whole shutdown were giggers, people that gigged, waiters, those are the ones that really got thrown under the bus. And not only that, but we sit around watching Zoom and we listen to people play guitar from their homes and we're moved by it,
Right.
like, I hope that when we make it out of this, that the arts and those service industries are teachers, doctors, nurses, I hope that becomes more of a thing with us, more important to us,
Right.
especially the
For sure.
musicians.
Absolutely.
I know I have. I pretty much stopped watching TV altogether. But I gotta say, the Zoom things that I have, or the conference type things that I have watched have been really moving to me and really special. I watched even this country music thing, just because it's all trimmed down and they're in their own environment, and
Right.
here you are hearing the real thing instead of the produced thing, so
For sure.
Definitely. That authenticity, it's beautiful.
yeah, just like having you guys from Kentucky. It's
Aw,
really
thank
special.
you.
It's really nice to have, and we appreciate it, definitely.
We're excited to be here. She's been talking about it, and I'm been excited, to get to talk to you, Dave, for the first time. Really talk to you, Chris. Same way. We've known Meredith for a while, so it's really good to see her. She's part of the the Discraft family, and so it's really good to see you guys and anybody out there watching too. Northside Chain Gang, man, we miss all you guys down there in Houston, and I love those courses down there. So,
What's your favorite in this area?
I do miss Butt. Again, I got my dad's tat all day.
Spring Valley.
Spring Valley.
Valley.
He's a Spring Valley fan. I'm a tat fan.
I just spent so much time there. So
SD.
much time there.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, I've come around to Spring Valley. At first, that was the first course I played when I moved here with Dixon. And Dixon was like, "You got to meet me at Spring Valley." And then we played the dirty course, they called it, And I was just, at the time, I was just like, somebody have a course, man. You got to mix it up. You got to, I want a dedicated course, not just a bunch of holes and then you play this. But over the years, I've gotten to appreciate it, and Andy's come up with some really nice configurations. Definitely,
I do like Spring Valley. Tat is it's so my game. Hyzer flip down long tunnels, it's my the biggest dream I could ever ask for in a disc golf course.
my favorite course change that has happened since I started playing disc golf, though, was whenever you changed hole 9 at at the church.
Stonebridge.
Yes, and you made it into that peninsula shot. Oh my gosh, it took me forever to be able to make it onto the peninsula, but once I did, I started always doing it. I was like, man, it felt so good to finally conquer that.
I played McDade was the first.
Hey, I got to give credit. That's TJ Straub's idea. I just pitched it. I pitched it to a guy. It was like that Kismet thing I was saying earlier. I was playing with him. I had no idea he was the guy, the Stonebridge guy. And I said, you should put it here. It'd be a nice, it'd be a cool, that's how they should do it. And I came back the next week and it was that way. And
That's so cool. That's so cool.
My advice that I took from TJ, But yeah.
Hey, it's time for a little bling. I think that's time for we need to let Meredith bring a little bling to the show.
Yeah.
What you got, Meredith?
All right, my question for you guys, both of you, I want to know what has changed in your game and or mentality from your first year on tour to starting even this season. I think it was only one tournament that maybe you got to play, right? But what could you say that really has changed and grown about yourself?
Well, I've got this one. I haven't actually been able to try it out on the course yet, but it just smacked me in the face the other day. So I've been struggling with my confidence during tournament play, and I realized I'm just not being myself out there. I'm not wearing my goofy pants. I'm not being myself. And so if I was being myself, I would be 10 times more confident. And so I'm going to start doing it. You inspired me with your new eyelashes. I love wearing makeup. I'm going to wear my makeup.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
I'd say for me, I'll answer it in a different, with you saying the first year on tour to now. In those 4 years that I've been with Courtney and we've been on tour, and I think most 3.5 of the years for the most part, from that time until now it's mainly like I just focus on, like, I'll be honest, I don't go out and try to win every tournament anymore because you can't win them all, right? So if I can just cash every tournament, I can continue to do this for the rest of my life. So until I can't cash anymore. So I just focus on trying to make sure that my game is strong enough and I'm consistent enough to continue to cash all the time. Because really, to me, you're not a pro unless you cash, right? Unless you cash at a big tournament, unless you cash, and make yourself feel good, like you win a B tier or you win a big C tier or something. That's when you know you're a pro to me. So like, just cashing every time against the best in the world. That's my goal because, yeah, I got 4th at Idlewild last year. If I maybe would have been a little more aggressive on the course, I could have won, but I was just fine with a $1,400 payday in 4th place at Idlewild, So
Nice.
it's about cashing because your confidence will go up just by cashing. If you cash once, then you're like, okay, I can do it again. And then you do it, and then you keep doing it, and you keep doing it. So I don't try to win every term. I just try to cash now. If I win, cool, awesome. But I can't beat Paul Macbeth 99 out of 100 times. There's no way. But there's that one time, So.
Yeah, I've played with him at 2015 Texas States, and that was the first time I realized that I couldn't beat somebody. I can't beat, and I played USDGC, and I always thought I could beat those guys, but that round I was like, yeah, I'm not so sure.
Yeah, right. I played with him at 2017 Texas States at Evergreen, and I think I was more in awe of watching him play than I was worried about playing the game that day. And I was just baffled how good he was.
How do you think he stays so consistent so long?
He plays every day. He does something every day. He putts every day. He works everything. Like, his game is that's what that man does. It's like if you're LeBron James, why go play golf all the time when you're a professional basketball player? You don't see the man do much else besides golf.
And putting in that time makes a difference for him, for me, for you, for anybody. If you put the time out there, you're going to see results.
Right. Mm-hmm. Exactly. Like people go, how is he so good? Well, he does it every day. Some people have jobs. Some people just don't want to put that, that work in. So you can't be Paul Macbeth because that man puts, if he's up 16 hours of the day, I'd guarantee that 14 hours are disc golf related, So that's what we're trying to get to. I love shooting basketball.
Following up on that, that is interesting you say that, Paul Macbeth, LeBron James, they all, they knew their passion and what they loved and where they were going to move forward with that passion. And this is for both of you, and I want both of you to answer this, was there a moment that you knew, was there a tournament, a shot, someone said something to you where you knew that this is what you wanted to do? And not only that you wanted to do it, but that you were very good at what you did in both divisions.
Okay, I'll answer first. Mine's pretty simple. I was 16 years old, and I was playing in back then they only had AM1, AM2, and Open for basically and Masters and stuff. So I was playing AM2. It was my first PDGA sanctioned event. I think it was 2000 or 2001. I was still in high school, and I won by 16 strokes over a bunch of grown men. And I got a sandbag award. They gave me a big bag of sand, told me I was a sandbagger. I didn't know what that meant. I had no clue. Like, we've been playing for 10 years. We wanted to try out the PDGA events. So Dad put me in AM2 because I was under 18 years old, and they didn't have a juniors event. So he threw me in. I whooped all these old men's butt. And I think right there is when I seriously knew that, man, I had something special in this game, because I tied Dave Greenwell on one of the hardest courses like you can imagine in Kentucky that round. And I went up to him as a 16-year-old kid and said, what did you shoot that round? He says, I shot 2 over. It's like, oh, cool, that's what I shot. And I didn't know that it hurt his feelings, like I didn't know he was mad. I was just a kid and I was excited. So I was so pumped. So I think right then I knew that I wanted to, because I remember telling my senior English teacher, she said, what do you want to be how do you get out of high school? And I said, I want to be a professional disc golfer. And she said, one day I'll see you on ESPN, hopefully. I said, well, it's going to take a while, but I think it'll get there. And I mean, you know, I was this close away from being on SportsCenter for my Miss Mills, because she always believed in me. All the other people in my school, they didn't. Professional disc golf, you know, there's Otter Creek, you know, that's.
Shout out Miss Mills.
Yeah, shout out Miss Mills.
Way to go,
But,
Miss Mills. Yeah.
I was this close to being on ESPN 2 years ago when I spit out for the chain out ace at Ledgestone on hole 17 for a car. If I would have hit that, I would have got a car. I'd have probably been on ESPN. It would have all been. So yeah, I think it was 16 years old when I really knew that I could be a professional disc golfer. I had all the skills in the world at 16. So.
Wow.
Okay, so whenever I knew I wanted to be a professional disc golfer was when I went to Bowling Green Amateur Championships and I did really well. I got second. And Trevor sat me down and he was like, hey, you know, keep playing advanced tournaments, you're really not going to improve. You need to just move up to pro and see, you know, what you have to learn and where you need to go and what you need to do to get there. That's the only way that it's going to really work out, is if you just push yourself out of that comfort zone that you're in and jump in. Mm-hmm. So I did it. I was like 830. What was I rated?
832.
832 rated. And I was like, I'm touring. And so, yeah. And so I realized, whenever I realized I was a pro, I was on Jomez at the World Championships. Discraft put me on there. And Trevor's getting coffee. They have like free coffee out there for all the players. The lady stops Trevor and me and she's like, here, have coffee. And she's talking to him about stuff. I end up walking the stairs to the tee box as they're calling my name. So I'm like, high five Paige, high five Zoe, you know, high five. And I get on the tee box, first one on the tee box, park the first hole, hit my putt, with all those nerves on Jomez, and I was like,
the
okay.
Only birdie off the card.
Yeah.
Like on Jomez.
It was like, okay, I'm supposed to be here.
It was really special.
Awesome.
It was
That
really
is awesome.
So
That's
Trevor,
awesome.
You had some time with the PDGA board.
Yeah.
What was your role there? And talk to us about, I call it your rise through kind of a negative situation. You know, you turned it into a positive. This is like, I didn't know you, but I really appreciated the campaign. You know, I was like, look at this guy, man. He turned that into, it could have just been a little controversial blurb or whatever, but it turned out to be something really cool. And it was the stick putt thing and the way you cashed that into your getting elected. I don't know what your role was, but tell us about that.
So the funny thing is about the Step with Trevor thing is I really thought that was going to be I thought it was going to be a perfect campaign logo for me. I was already controversial. I was like doing the step putt. Everybody was like, well, if you get on the board, you could change the step putt. Well, that's not really what the board of directors does. I did use that to my advantage, to be honest. And I thank you for noticing me changing that negative situation into something that really benefited me.
And that's what I mean by it. I don't think. In my from my view, there was nothing negative about it because I have an opinion about it. This step. Yeah. And I've known about it for a long time.
Because he uses it, that's why.
Because it's a legal putt, but we'll stop that there. We'll go on with this board thing. I enjoyed my time on the board, and I really, really wish I would have got reelected last year. I didn't campaign hard last year, and that was my downfall. And I think if I would have campaigned and got my issues out there, my stuff out there that I wanted to, I'd be on for 3 years again. But basically for a year I was appointed because Kevin McCoy dropped off of the board of directors with like 3 months to go on this term. I can't really say anything about that, but I took his place, and like I felt like I felt like I belonged there, to be honest, because they didn't have anybody like me. They didn't have a touring player. They didn't have somebody that really had this different viewpoint from the tour. They didn't have my rashness. I don't hide the truth. I'm going to be honest. 100% of the time you're going to get what I think. You're going to get how I feel. And I'm going to tell you what I think, no matter what your opinion is of it. I'm still going to tell you if we're in a group decision, like on the board of directors. So my position in there was I was just a member. You know, you have the president, Indy. You have the president, you have the vice president, you have the secretary, the treasurer, and then there's 3 others. And it's just opinions, basically, is what I see it as. But the board of directors is a group of 7 people who come together, and if the PDGA, like the executive director, Joe Chargalov, or that unstable, I don't know, if anybody in the PDGA, like store or the Hall of Fame or any of that, they work for the PDGA and has a problem, the board of directors kind of helps it out. So when you want to change a rule or when you want to do anything that's going to do anything to the game, the board, it has to go through the board of directors. So I was basically in charge of, and I've seen numbers that disc golfers are like, holy crap, you know, I've seen, you know, rule changes through this whole situation. I got to vote for where the worlds were going to be this year's worlds was actually the worlds that I voted on. So I got to vote for Utah. I got to vote for the AM worlds where they were going to be, where the Masters stuff was going to be, like all these, like where the Zelenskys was held. And we had to vet through all of this. You know, every month I had 3 meetings and conference calls and this and this. And
they were working towards great goals from what he had, the little bit he could explain to me. They were working towards great goals and doing very good things.
Yeah, the PDGA was great. And I wish I could do it again because I made really good friends on the board. Like they're all so passionate about the sport. And that's what really meant a lot to me, was to see that there are other people out there that almost really love the sport as much as I do. You know, I've been playing since I was 7 years old. There's not many people that have that much passion for it like I do. So to see people like that, like Dan Stork-Roddick as a consultant, like to meet people and to pick brains.
I've got his sticker on my car.
Oh my gosh. I told a last podcast I was on, Dylan, I told him that if there was one disc golfer I could be like, it wouldn't be Paul McBeth. It wouldn't be Ken Climo. It would be Stork, because Stork has continued to accelerate his game as he gets older. He's tried to get better. And he's also like this untapped mind for the disc golf. Where the dude has thrown frisbees on stage, Freddie Murray. I mean, what? You know, like just there's things that I want to do. Like I want to be 80 years old like him and be on the board of directors as a consultant to tell them what happened in our history of our sport, because that's a big thing in my eyes.
History matters, you know, and not enough people know about it.
But I enjoyed it. It was fun. I was just a guy basically that would give my opinions on things as a player's perspective. I'd be rash. I'd tell them how I felt. You know, if there was a situation that I didn't think that was right, you know, like I was the only person on the board that didn't have like a master's degree in law or a doctorate's degree or whatever. I was the kid that grew up on the other side of the tracks in the trailer park. I wasn't all the, you know, so for me, I was just boots from the ground, man. This is what I see. This is what I'm going to do. So the one cool thing that I think I did compared to any other board members that's ever been around is if there was something wrong in a tournament that I was at, I called the board of directors that day. And I'd be like, hey, look, man, is this the way you guys want our sport to look? This is crap. Let's fix this. And I did it 25 out of 36 tournaments last year.
There needs to be consistency in our events. The guidelines are in the book. You know, we're all supposed to know them if you're certified TD.
Yeah. And it's just problems. There's people take shortcuts. Tournament directors, I have a big issue with tournament directing and how it all works. It's all a volunteer sport. So really, they like don't really care, if you think. I mean, they do care because they're volunteering their time. But then again, like there's some that are just amazing TDs, right? Like I'll give Nate Heinold, Jeff Spring, hell, Matt Stillwagon's a great TD. You know, I mean, like you have great TDs out there. But then you have some that just, you know, they don't care. And that's where I see a problem. If they're going out and getting sponsors for tournaments and they're the face of that tournament, they're the face of the sport for
to the communities
and to the public they're going to get the money from. I think they should handle it a little better. There's a TD I know that drinks like a fish while he's doing these big tournaments. And I'm just like, you're handling thousands of dollars. What happens if you just happen to misplace 500 of it? Like, I have problems with TDs, but that's just me. Sometimes I tried to fix.
Well, you know, how do you fix it? You pay them, yeah.
You pay the ones, like if you want, to me, my opinion would be if you want the big tournaments to be consistent across the board, you want the pro tours to be consistent, you want the national tours to be consistent, and the A tiers to be consistent, then you pay some of them a TD to go to certain areas regionally. B tiers and C tiers, let people cut their teeth being a TD. Let's use those for like learning how to be a TD, learning the ways. And if you're good enough, you might be able to get paid to run a big A tier. You know, so I know they give like a little bit of percentage of the money to the TD, but that's not enough, man. Some of these people take weeks out of their time to prepare for a tournament. And then next thing you know, they have to take a week off of work to deal with, let's think, amateurs not getting enough in their players' packs. AMs complaining they didn't get enough in their winnings. Pros complaining the payout wasn't enough. To me, that's not worth it, taking a week out from my family and the time.
It's a thankless job.
It's a thankless job, and people don't realize that.
Well, who pays
So,
them?
Hard,
Who
dude.
pays the TD?
It's the TDs.
Yeah, who pays?
Nobody pays the TD.
I mean, if they
So-
were going to get paid, who pays them?
Yeah, I think that the PDGA should hire 2 or 3 really, really good TDs, like a Nate Heinold or a Jeff Sprint. I know Jeff is doing the executive stuff for Pro Tour now, but hire your best TD and give them a job to go run 4 or 5 tournaments on the tour in a year. You don't have to pay them a lot of money, but pay them enough that it really helps out their time. You know, it really helps out what they're doing.
Yeah.
Give them a chance, And I think if you pay TDs, then TDs take it a little more seriously. Then our sport gets more eyes. I think that little gap in between that is really what holds some of us back. And I don't think people really think about that too much. They think about exposure on media and exposure on TV and ESPN. They don't think about the little things that really hinder our game from getting to that next level.
Mhm.
Before turning this over to Meridith for a question, I do want to follow up with that. Hemi and I have dipped our toe into the TD experience. We have also been trained by the same person that Meridith is under right now, which you just mentioned a moment ago, Matt Stillwagon. We did Texas States, and I can definitely concur the amount of work that it takes to put on a tournament like that is amazing. I didn't have any idea until I got down with Matt and became his assistant TD for that event to realize what it really takes to run it. Hemi and I are trying to move forward with our own league, supported by Northside Chain Gang at this time. And we too are finding the amount of not only daily preparation that you put into it, but the pre-preparation that's required from it. So I think the question he was really trying to ask you is how do you take care of those people who put so much time into it? Well, I do hear you talking about the A tier. For those who love the game, who are spending our time in putting these things together, I mean, it does take a substantial amount of weekly effort to put on a weekly league tournament. So do you see moving forward that, I think Hemi was trying to pull it out of you, that somehow some of the money that's put in towards that league payment for that week goes towards the TD's preparations?
I would say, yeah. Like, I mean, if I'm taking time out of my day, like I used to run leagues around here in Kentucky, right? I never took money from it. I'm trying to grow it a little more around here because we have this small niche of people around here, right? So I think that if you take out all these hours out of your time to run something for everybody else's benefit, definitely you should get something out of that. And if people get mad at that, then that's on them. You don't have to come play the league. You don't have to come play that tournament. But I feel like for the time and effort that people put into some of this stuff to make everybody happy and to give everything what they want, make the course look good, order the Frisbees, do the stamp, there's so much that people don't really realize that goes into a tournament. Heck yeah, man, everybody should get paid some kind of money off of doing that. It's just, you would work harder next time because you could get paid more if you worked off of the commission of it or whatever. But it's just give people goals to catch so they can get more out of what they're doing.
Yeah.
I know that the PDGA is doing something. I can't really say it. They might have already opened it up, but they're going to start doing like a reward system for TDs, right? So you can if you run in some stuff, you might get a couple of flags, the PDGA tour flags or whatever for your club, or they might send you a couple of extra, PDGA shirts or something. I know that they're working something onto like a rewards thing, if I'm not mistaken. So when I was on the board, we talked about it. So.
Tell them about your historic courses deal that you passed.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah, it was on the board. I had passed. I got 2 things passed while I was on the board, and it was very, very special to me. Well, the second thing didn't get passed yet. It's actually going to get passed, but they did a touring press professional players committee to where some of the top pros like Paul Ulibarri, David Feldberg, myself. There is a couple of TDs, bigger TD names and stuff. They're on the players committee, and we talk amongst ourselves about what we as players want for the sport and what we can help do for the rest of the players in our sport, and professional, and women, and kids, and anybody, really, anybody that's playing the sport. And then I also created this document to any course that's pre-1980 would be labeled a historic course. So if the course was 1979 or 1978 or 77, those courses would be dubbed a historic course, where you could preserve these courses so our sport, when it gets 100 years old, we have their very first courses in the country and in the world. So the first courses in each state will also be dubbed a historic course. So I don't remember what Texas's first course state in the state was. But,
Hemi, what was that course back in 1950? What was it?
I think it was.
I started late.
San Antonio. Might be Live Oak. Might be Live Oak. But each course will have, each course or each state will have their first course dubbed a historic course, and then any course under 1979 will be dubbed a historic course. And I'm just trying to get it to where our history is preserved, so you can basically go to these courses and be like, look, I played one of the most historic courses in disc golf. It's been here since the 70s. This is awesome, when the sport began. So something else I do.
That's amazing.
Awesome.
So I love the board, Hemi, to answer your question.
Yeah. Yeah, that was great, man, because leading up to this, Chris and I had talked about it, and like for me, the PDGA is just this thing that we don't really know what it is. We're like, and that gives you, just like all other prejudices, it gives you kind of license to badmouth it or whatever, because you don't know who the people are, you don't know how it works, and so you gave us an excellent insight into it.
I gained a lot of respect for the PDGA after my time on the board. I gained a whole bunch of respect for them people and what they do. There's not many people who work for the PDGA that get paid. People think that they just pay everybody. They really don't. And the people that do get paid, man, they do a lot of work. I'm talking daily phone calls, emails. I mean, I have never gotten so many emails in my entire life when I was on the board. I think I got like 15,000 emails from all this stuff going on. Wow. Approval of discs, approval of
wow.
Just, over and over and over and over. And I was like, man, this is a little too much, but I think this is awesome.
So cool.
So it was fun.
Assuming you'll run again next year.
No, I took my name out of the hat. I want to focus. I know that I'm 36 years old now, and I know that your body starts breaking down at this age, and I want to take care of myself, because I feel like I showed myself last year that I can compete with these guys, and I want to take the next 3 years of my life and really focus and dedicate it to disc golf before I turn to master's age. I want to win a world title, but I can't if I do all this other stuff. And I know everybody wants to win a world title, but man, this has been my dream since I was 10 years old. If I don't win a world title, I'm going to win a Masters world title. You watch. Like, I'm winning something. This is my destiny to play disc golf. So, but.
Yeah, well, good luck with that. I think you're on the right track for sure. Definitely.
He's expressed to me that he wants to go back and work with the PDGA again at a later date after he's achieved more of his goals. And I think that that's pretty smart.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Well, at this point, mentoring is huge. You could talk some people into just tell them what you just told us. I'm more interested now, and not that I run. You know what I'm saying? It's like it is something that you can put your heart and soul into. That's
you can really just get the people to vote. That's the biggest problem with the PDGA voting stuff. Is there was only 12.97% of the membership voted for the board of directors last year.
Mm-hmm.
Let's be honest. I saw the information that's given out. It's somewhat kind of comparable to what you have as far as the president's primaries. You don't really get to know these people. The information is put out so blandly. Nobody really talks to you like you and I are talking about things that may be important. Well, I don't get to hear mystery person A who's going to be the president, who may be running for this thing.
Right.
I don't get to hear him, see him, listen to him. All I get is bland email that says voting takes place, blah, blah, blah. Make sure you vote. Well, the excitement level and me voting on that, that's like, okay, well, I'm going to put my mark down. But I want to not have y'all answer that question because it's time for Meridith to talk. Because
Sorry, Meredith.
Amy and I will ramble for days.
If I recall correctly, I actually had to email them for the voting email.
Yeah,
So
it's
that's another.
something I really tried to tell them.
I think I remember saying that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
We'll fix it.
but I did it. It was cool. You got it. So this actually is kind of a little funny that is leading up to my next question. But I had actually written down, I think a day before you had posted your update of what you're about to be doing on YouTube, and I said, hey, can you teach me how to step putt? And then like the next day, you're like, I'm on our YouTube. And the last thing here has been really, first of all, you helped me so much in my beginnings of my social presentation, if you will. Thank you for that. And I've noticed all that you've been doing online, and you're so good at this technology. Like you're building his website, like all this fun stuff. So tell me more.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you. I just fell in love with it. You know, I've always loved art, but I was always so involved with sports that I couldn't pursue it. And so, you know, there were a couple years there where I just dove in to YouTube video programs, and I've gotten really good at it over the years. And I'm really excited to be doing it now with disc golf for our companies and our businesses, and really just growing in this sport. Thank you.
You're doing great. I know, you know. And we appreciate it. Like, to anybody following us, we really appreciate it because we love to show people what we do. Like, we love to show them, like, our good shots. We like to show them where we're at, what Indy's. I mean, most of it's Indy. Everybody likes Indy more than us, which is fine. I mean, she's the star of the show. But, you know, just the places we get to go, the things we get to do. We're so lucky and we're so humbled. And to have people like you guys following us around and just showing us your love and support, it means the absolute world to us. So we love it. So continue to hit those likes and support things. Those are fun.
You're the first pros I knew. Like, y'all are so supportive of the sport. I'm so thankful for all y'all done. Like, y'all grow the sport. You genuinely care, and you always looking out for others as well. So thank y'all for all you.
Thank you.
We want everybody to feel like we feel when we play disc golf. I know we take it seriously because we have to play for money, but man, it makes us feel so alive. We're out in nature. We're throwing frisbees. We're having fun. We're smiling. It's the best feeling in the world to me. So we want it. If it does take you to another level, then we hope that we can help in some way. We never want to defer somebody from playing the game that we love. I mean, if I was 9 years old and somebody told me I can't play that, I would never be here. But they all told me to keep playing because it's fun. So we never want anybody to ever not play this game. That's the thing about it. I always want to grow. She wants it to grow. We want it to grow. We want everybody to play. So,
moving forward with this, new world that we've found ourselves in, how do you see disc golf tournaments in the future? I mean, I'm not saying that this year, but I mean, do you think the field will be smaller so they can fit people on the courses without being too close together, or
I have no idea.
I guess what I'm getting at is, what about, the PDGA's always had like a million different divisions, maybe just trim it down to a couple, I mean,
well, that's what we hope for, right?
Right.
That's what I hope for.
Yeah.
But
as a viewer, that's what you hope for too, really.
Right.
Really the only people that benefit from all these different divisions are just all the really cool people that play in all those divisions.
Yeah, right.
Right. And there's a lot of them, there's a whole lot of them, that's kind of one thing that makes our sport unique is all the different divisions. So it's kind of a catch-22. But for you guys out on the road, pro and masters and then the whole AM thing would be a totally different thing. It seems like that's the way it would really advance the sport. And from my
right now, I foresee in the near future, I see no spectators. Hopefully more cameras on some players and things. But I would say no spectators. We're gonna keep it don't show up until 30 minutes before you're about to play, or, and then leave 30 minutes after you're done. Just get out, get in there, get done, get out. I see that happening. As far as like later on down the road, I mean, social distancing seems like it's going to be a new normal thing for the society that we live in today. I don't know about, wearing masks like Japanese or Chinese people do. I don't see that really taking a hold over here in America, just because of how our society is in America. But, I wear a mask. I'm going to the post office to drop disc golf. I'm wearing a mask. If they tell me to wear a mask at the disc golf tournament, I'm good to go. Put it on, because
He's been my hero. I've been so afraid. I won't go do anything. He's mailed my disc for me. It goes out to the store. I'm like,
but I'm taking all the precautions. I hope the PDGA really takes precautions, and the reopening part of this. I think that you had a question kind of like this, Chris, that you were going to lead into, but I'll kind of go into it anyway. I think that the PDGA has done a really, really good job about, taking away the sanctioning for April, taking away the sanctioning for May. Let's really, really wait. And because if any other sports are doing it, then there's no reason that we should be out there doing it as well, right? Now, as far as going to public courses and stuff, I don't see why some of our courses are closed and the golf courses are open. That blows my mind. I got to drive past the golf course every day here, and there's hundreds of people on the golf course, but we can't go play disc golf. And that blows my mind. But I think the PDGA did a great job. And I even told a couple of board members that I think they messed up in the beginning, and just for simple fact, at Waco, when they canceled the second round at Waco, I think right then everything else should have been shut down. I think the rest of the tournament sanctioning should have been gone. They didn't do that. They waited a week. So we drove all the way to Tampa Bay, Florida to play Throw Down the Mountain, because they told us that they weren't going to get canceled right now. 2 days after we got to Brooksville, Florida is where it was, they canceled, all the events. And Throw Down the Mountain's a huge tournament. There's a lot of people there. Sun King Discs, we'll do that real quick. They do a lot for that place down there, and he pays a lot of money to get that course open and stuff. So it really took a big hit on him, and he was worried about, should I do a tournament? Should I just do it non-sanctioned? It's a private course. I don't know if the owners are going to get mad. So he just completely shut it all down. And, we were happy that we got to play Throw Down the Mountain. That course is sick. But
oh my gosh, yes, it was my T-pad Tuesday, one of the holes. It was really cool.
But to not get to play that's the one thing I told them I feel like they did wrong, is when they shut down Waco's second round. I think right then and there they should have shut down everything, and they waited a few days after that, and it kind of messed up some people's travel plans, because they were going to A-tiers after Waco. They were going, some people were at Belton, and they could have already been at home in Michigan or Minnesota or wherever they were, but they went to Belton to practice and play and wasted a few days, and that's where I think they did wrong. But how many times have we had a pandemic?
Yeah. Well, and I think from my perspective,
follow up on that with the social distancing and what you think moving forward with the tournaments are going to maybe bring. And I'll only propose this because you also brought up, and I'm a huge sports fan, and Dave and I played all sports, basketball, football, baseball, track, you name it, we do it. You cannot have social distancing in basketball.
Right.
You're not going to be able to guard the guy 6 feet away.
Yeah,
okay?
exactly.
A football player, an offensive lineman, a defensive tackle are not going to be having social distancing. They're going to be running into each other. They're going to be breathing into each other's faces. They're going to be this far apart. I've done it myself. I've smacked someone in the face with a helmet and realized we're about 4 inches apart. You're not going to stop that. So moving forward, the larger leagues, NFL, NBA, hockey, they are not going to it. UFC, for God's sake, you can't get any closer to a human being than that. Your object is to smack that person with whatever object you have upon you. So I hear you on the PDGA and the social distancing, and I think the consciousness of what we're speaking about is okay now. But I think moving forward, while we all say this, you're going to start seeing these larger leagues get back in. And you're going to see our league that we love go, hey, these guys are about kissing each other on every play, and you're telling me I can't stand within shout, and I
Right.
can't have fans that are along a fairway that's 500 feet or a course that's 2.5 miles.
Right.
So I see things being a little more complicated than what y'all make it out to be. The social distancing is going to have to be a complicated issue.
Yeah.
Because you know as well as I do, those sports are not going to stop. There's too much money in
I
them.
agree. Too much money. And that's the thing with our sport is there might be a little money in it for the PDGA and stuff, but they don't want to take a chance on anything happening to the association because they do have like right now, they're not getting any money. Like nobody's buying a membership to go play disc golf. Nobody's paying any. They're going to open it up as soon as they can so they can get their money coming in. And I understand. I don't think that I might not have said it right, but like as far as the social distancing, our game is so different compared to everybody else's.
Yeah.
It's like PDGA can kind of implement like a small rule that says, hey, try to stay away from each other. And everybody's going to do it at the time for the first few months while it's open. But really, I think disc golf gets back to where it goes where it has been because it's just you're outside all the time. They're saying being outside right now helps with this stuff. So it might even help our game grow a little bit more, all this pandemic craziness. Some sports might not do well. Some sports might fold. But I don't think disc golf will.
Yeah.
Well put. I didn't think about that either.
Definitely.
Well, before we close the show, and I don't want to keep y'all any longer, I know we could all ramble on for much longer, but we can't wait to hopefully have y'all back on the show again when y'all are out on tour and y'all are on the tournaments and we can promote what y'all are doing. But before we do that, I definitely want to give y'all an opportunity to hit your sponsors up or any shout outs that y'all have right now. And I know from me, David and Meridith, thank y'all so much for taking your time right now out of your day. And we appreciate the information and keep it up. I mean, we're behind y'all 100%.
Hey, Trevor, this has been in my office for like 2 weeks and the reason is because
The Fling Show. The Fling Show. Y'all wanna know about the mystery of flight. You wanna hear about the scene done right. So kill your TV and just come outside. We're gonna take you on a beautiful ride. The Fling Show. The Fling Show. The Fling Show. The Fling Show. The Fling Show.